Welcome back to Co-ed Convos with Kay. I'm Kay, and this is where we talk about singlehood, beauty, and lifestyle. Today's episode, we'll be talking about single women having a safe space, being free from the expectations of society while dating. So right now online, there are a lot of tips and advice for single women. Things such as don't go out on a date, get coffee with him, make him earn your time. Don't say this, do X, Y, Z. If you want him to do A, B, C, and the list goes on. Honestly, this can be overwhelming. So today's episode especially is dedicated to creating a safe space for single women. Here you can breathe and decompress from all of the rules out there. And note, while my channel will talk about topics around dating, singlehood, lifestyle, beauty, the primary focus is to encourage you and cultivate the best version of yourself. Oh, and I do want to note that before we get started, I will be looking at my phone here and there because, y'all, I got some juicy points, okay? And I want you to get it all. So I made me a little list of points that I kind of wanted to cover. So if I look down every now and then, I'm not trying to disconnect from the audience because I love y'all, okay? So let's get into it. So vulnerability 101. Many people don't talk about how there may be a time that you're frustrated with God about waiting, you're frustrated with dating, you're doubtful about what he told you, because a lot of times God will speak to you or speak to other people and they'll share something with you, a word or prophecy over you. And you're like, God, are you sure? Were you talking to me when you made this promise? Because I haven't seen it. And there also may be a time where you just reconsider following his plan for your life. Many times people don't talk about this, but I will because it's the truth and it happens. While there are many people out there telling you different pieces of advice and tips about dating, being single, what to look for, what not to do, the truth is, they're telling you what worked for them. And there's nothing wrong with that, but don't be fooled into thinking that if I follow this or do that, then it's going to work out for me. This is going to happen. And that's not the case. Whatever God has for you is yours. And learning that it's hard to mess up what is meant for you. Let's say God told you that you would enter a new industry for your career this year. And you go and apply for a position and they hit you back with we have 2 other candidates that are more fitting for this role, but thank you for applying, da, 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 da. And you're like, okay, God, but I thought you said I was going to get the job. If God told you you're going to get something, you've got to learn to believe and trust what he said over what you see, what people tell you, and how you feel. Because honestly, God has commanded us to have faith in him. He said that it's impossible to please him without faith. And this kind of goes back to my point about it's hard to mess up something that is meant for you. In this example, this person didn't have faith, even though God told them, this is what I'm going to do, because something happens another way, but it caused them to doubt what God told them. And if God is requiring us to have faith, then how do you still get the promise and your faith is lacking or you're weary or whatever? And the truth is, God gives us grace for that. And again, if he said that something is for us, the same way that there is nothing that can separate us from the love of God, if you do what God told you, if you follow his voice, his instructions, You cannot not get the blessing. God says that his blessings will overtake us. And let me get my phone out because this is the one. In Deuteronomy 2:28. And actually, I don't have the verse pulled up, but go and look at it. You will see exactly what I'm talking about. He says that his blessings will overtake us. And to overtake is to flood, engulf, inundate, overwhelm. You will have to literally say no to God's blessings to not receive them. So I'm going to give you another example. Say you're in a relationship with someone and, the Lord, he done already told you, sis, this ain't it. You need to go ahead and cut them off. What if this one act of obedience puts you in place for the answer to your prayers? What if God is actually waiting on you to do what he told you? Are you going to ignore this and follow what society says sounds good on paper? Be free from society's expectations and check with God to see if the information, the advice that you're getting is even valid. You need to see if it's even applicable to you at this moment in time, because honestly, whatever God is doing in your life, if the information that you're taking in or the decisions that you're making are not aligned with what he said or what he told you, you're out of God's will. And I know we don't like to hear that, but that's the truth. And it's going to help you. Okay? Hold that thought, y'all. My last thing that I was going to say about that is, honestly, you could be working with God's plans and be aligned. So always check the source, sis. Okay? So we're going to wrap up today's video. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 points on advice that you're taking in online. And this can be concerning dating, really anything, but specifically, especially dating today. The first thing is, don't be afraid to put social media accounts or people on mute. Not because you're mad or upset or whatever, but just because maybe the information that they're giving out right now is overwhelming you and you're seeing it in a bunch of places. So you're really just like aggravated, don't want to hear it, and on the verge of doing what you want to do. But if this is not you and you're not overwhelmed, I'm so glad to hear that. But I still have some tips for you too. And those tips are to check the source of the information. So a lot of people are online teaching people about love spells. Y'all, that is witchcraft, okay? Don't fall for the okie doke. It's really important that you check the source of your information that you're receiving, because stuff like that deals with occult practices, and you don't want to be consuming information from people who really are not following Christ. Okay, you don't want to end up in some stuff. My next point is to ask yourself, what season am I in? Am I dating actively right now? Am I working on my relationship with God? Or am I developing myself to become a better woman? Because you could be taking in information and getting overwhelmed, because this is not the season to focus on that. So just a little something to kind of refocus you. My third point, and this is the final point, is the advice that I'm taking in aligns with God's will and with his word? Because if it's not, then we need to change that ASAP. And the reason, honestly, is because I'm going to give you another example. This one is quick. You can't be asking God for a blessed marriage, but you're looking at how to be a toxic woman, how to keep the cycle of toxic femininity going. Sis, like, what are you doing? What are you doing, baby? So, yeah, no, we can't do that. And girl, you know God didn't tell you to promote and continue a cycle of toxicity in your life. You already know that. He told you to treat other people how you want to be treated. So it's real easy to fall into like really entertaining stuff. And I'm not saying that, you can't be entertained, but just be mindful of what you consume because it impacts you. God talks about how the things that are on our heart come out of our mouth. So let me get us back to the main focus of today's video because I don't want to get off on a tangent. The focus of today's video is to help you be free from the expectations of society while dating. So having that in mind, I want you to remember that God is unconventional. He is the ultimate rule breaker when it comes to his will being done. So everyone's story will not be the same, but that does not mean that your love story will not be any less intentional, romantic, creative, or crafted for you. Don't be overwhelmed by what you see online or what you see in your life or what other people tell you. Be free from that. Ask God to tell you what to focus on and know that your obedience will take you far more than you could have ever imagined. But on a serious note, while I am sharing these verses with you, please know that it is never my intent to make you feel judged nor to judge you. I am here to encourage you with the truth and speak life over you. If this video hit home, please leave me a heart in the comments and let me know if you'd like to see more content like this. I'm so glad you guys tuned in, and I will catch you next time.